Radhe Radhe, Dandavat Pranam. Today I would like to share with you a most wonderful verse I found quite some time ago in the Srimad Bhagavatam. I have here the third canto, the edition of His Holiness Bhanu Swami with the Sarartha Darshini commentary by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. It is most wonderful done. And the verse is in the third canto, in the 9th chapter. It is verse 11. This is a very, very wonderful verse, and I like it very much because it says so much about the intrinsic process of Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti, and it is very, very valuable for Raganuga Bhakti Sadhaka. It is a really, really wonderful verse, and like many verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is manifold. It is very deep, and the meaning is manifold, and the meaning is very, very deep. So I will try to say something to this verse and read something. It is a very wonderful verse. 3:9:11. Tvam bhakti yoga paribhavita rit saroja ase shutekshita pato nanu nata pungshang yad yadiya ta urugaya vipavayanti tatat vapu pranayase sat anugrahaya. So, it is interesting. The verse has practically two halves, and Bhanu Swami, being a very devoted follower and a very, very elaborate scholar, dealing mostly with the commentary of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti part, he translated the last part of the shlok according to the Tika, the commentary of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti part. You will see what I mean. So the translation runs as follows. O Lord, you who are approached by being heard about, seen, and directly served, enter and remain in the lotus of your devotees' hearts infused with Bhakti Yoga or Bhakti. Much praised Lord, by your mercy, you bestow to them spiritual bodies, siddha dehas, appropriate to the mood they cultivate during sadhana. So this is a very, very astonishing verse in the third canto, Brahma's prayers, where actually many truth and many topics, tattvas, are actually in this verse inside. So I will read the commentary of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and then we will see that actually the sentence, much praised Lord, by your mercy you bestow to them spiritual bodies appropriate to the mood they cultivate during sadhana, has also another meaning, can also be translated in a very different way, but actually they fit together very nicely. Commentary. Bhakti, even without jnana, delivers one from material existence. But more than that, by bhakti, the Lord becomes dependent on the devotee. This is most wonderful. We heard this many times, that actually bhakti can really make the bhakti can make the Lord so that the Lord will depend on the devotee. The Lord will love us so much that he will never leave our heart. This is a promise also Krishna makes in the Bhagavad Gita, that the devotee will never perish. So, then the next line, but more than that, by bhakti, the Lord becomes dependent on the devotee. That is the special sweetness of the love of the Lord. Bhavita means infused with. Amara Kosha dictionary says Bhavita means infused in all three genders. You sit on the lotus in the devotees' hearts, infused completely with bhakti. Or the phrase can mean in the devotees' hearts, manifested by bhakti yoga. Bhavita is the past participle form, so it has been accomplished. Bhakti is the cause of the Lord's manifesting himself. You enter the hearts of the devotees and you remain there. You do not leave. This is confirmed in the 3rd canto, chapter 9, the 5th verse, which is before, we can read before. Napaishi nata hridayam buruhat svapungshang. You do not give up the lotus of the devotee's heart. Your path is first heard about from the mouth of Guru, then seen, and then directly served. By this path, you are brought to the devotees' lotus hearts. The implication is that the devotees know this path of sadhana bhakti well. The consequent implication is that the person who desires to attain the Lord should understand this path. Even without hearing, the devotees meditate on your various forms, vapuhu, using their minds. Yes. You reveal pranayasi those forms to the devotees. So here we have the second meaning of the second half of the shloka. This is the meaning according to Sridhar Swami. So, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he says, much praised Lord, by your mercy you bestow to them, to the devotees, spiritual bodies appropriate to the mood they cultivate during sadhana. And here, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti part is also completely in accordance with Narodam Das Thakur's 2 wonderful verses in the Prema Bhakti Chandrika 55 and 56, that actually what we cultivate during our sadhana, it will lead us to corresponding bodies we desire for. What we cultivate, I will read this nice verse later, what we cultivate during sadhana, Krishna will bestow, you bestow to us spiritual bodies appropriate to the mood we cultivate during sadhana. So Sridhar Swami, a very great commentator on the Bhagavatam, he says, which is also very, very wonderful translation, even without hearing, the devotees meditate on your various forms using their mind. So that means that actually the devotee concentrates on a big, Jiva Goswami also says this in the Bhakti Sandarbha, that the Jiva, he should have a very, very special form of the Lord he is dedicated to, and he will engrave and put this form in the heart, no? Using their minds, vapuhu. You reveal those forms to the devotees. This is now different. Now, according to the mood of the devotees, the Lord will reveal himself in this form. So he can reveal himself in many forms. He can reveal himself in a Narayan form, if you go to Vaikunta, but he can also reveal himself in a form of Shyama Sundara Govinda in Vrindavan. So these 2 meanings are in this verse. So first of all, you, the Lord, you reveal your forms to the devotees who concentrate on those beloved forms. But the second meaning can also be, and this is the meaning of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, or your devotees doing sadhana concentrate on their spiritual form according to their mood of love using their minds. So that, and you have them attain pranayasi, their spiritual bodies. You become dependent on your devotee. So I find this is a very, very wonderful verse, and we can see that Sanskrit and all these shlokas are so deep and so elaborate that even if on the surface it may appear that these translations may differ, but actually they are very, very close together, because first of all, the Lord will reveal himself, his form, according to our taste, according to our desire, according to how we want to approach, and according to how our relationship should be. So this is very, very important in Bhakti Yoga, especially in Raganuga Bhakti, that without being fixed in knowing what relationship I want to have with the Lord, it is very, very difficult to establish a relationship in Bhakti. Without fixing ourselves in whatever relationship we want, it is very difficult to progress and to go through the stages of Bhakti. So we try to find out what is our mood and how do we want to love the Lord. So in Mahaprabhu, he came to give the world a very, very special love, the mood of the gopis of Vrindavan, Manjari Bhav Sadhana. So for us, Manjari Bhav Sadhana, sadhakas, this verse has also very, very, very deep meaning. So it confirms completely what Narottam Das Thakur is writing in Prema Bhakti Chandrika. I will come to this a little later. But also this verse and the Tika, it has fantastic points inside. For first of all, it is said that actually the hearts will be infused with bhakti. This is also a very, very deep point. It means that bhakti actually is not in the heart of the jivas. Bhakti is infused in the heart of the jivas. And by that infusion, the Lord becomes manifest, it is said here. You who are approached by being heard about, seen and directly served, enter and remain in the lotus of your devotees' hearts, infused with bhakti. So our hearts should be infused, our hearts should be a fertile ground for that manifestation to take place. So that means we do sadhana bhakti, raganuga sadhana bhakti, and we make our heart a fertile ground for that to happen, so that bhakti can be infused in it. So bhakti comes from bhakti. Bhakti comes from bhakti. That means that actually bhakti is infused into our heart from someone who already has that wonderful bhakti. And this point is also made here very clearly. Bhakti is the cause of the Lord's manifestation himself. So Krishna enters the heart of the devotees, but the heart should be made fertile, should be made a suitable place. In Madhurya Kadambini also, Vishwanath Chakravarti Part is saying that actually not the mind is the place where this bhakti takes hold. It is the heart, which is the seat of the soul, where this love and this takes hold. So in the heart, bhakti is infused from someone who has bhakti. And who is this? It is seen in this. Your path is first heard from the mouth of Guru, then seen, and then directly served. This is a wonderful tika in Guru Tattva. So Guru is giving us the seed of bhakti, the bhakti lata bija. He is giving us bhakti. He is infusing our hearts with his bhakti, and it is up to us to cultivate that wonderful field and to make it fertile, that the creeper of bhakti can grow very strongly and very nicely. So bhakti is infused into our hearts from Sri Guru, and it is heard from the mouth, and then interestingly, it is said, it is seen and then directly served. Of course, this is now according to the sanskaras of the sadhaka. This can be a huge time span, this can be a middle time span, this can be a short time span. But first of all, it is heard from the mouth of Sri Guru. And how this is starting? It starts with Diksha. So the Guru is giving us bhakti, and he is giving us the way, the path, sadhana, raganuga, bhakti sadhana, by the Diksha mantras, divya jnana. It is this knowledge about our relationship with our Ishtadev, with our beloved Thakurji, which we want to love and we desire to love, this particular form of the Lord and his consort Radhika, this particular mood we cultivate during our sadhana, and we follow what Gurudev is giving us through his instructions mainly, and most powerfully the Diksha mantras. The Diksha mantras establish this divya jnana, this beautiful knowledge. Who are we, and who are we in relationship to the divine couple? So this divya jnana enters into our heart by the mercy of Gurudev. This bhakti enters, and then it is up to us to come from achataruchi, not much taste, to chataruchi, to lots of taste. And then we go through the stages of bhakti, and then we come to this next, what is here said, it is seen and served directly. So first we hear about from the mouth of the Gurudev, and when we progress in our path of bhakti, we can actually come to a stage where we can perceive in visions and spurtis the path, and we can have experiences where we can see the path, and then when we attain siddha svarupa, we can directly serve. Directly serve means we have to attain siddha, perfect siddha. So we have to be perfected in our realization. Then we have this Svarup Siddhi attained, this perfection of our spiritual form attained, and then we can directly serve. So I found it very, very interesting to hear that actually in the Bhagavatam we hear about Siddha Pranali and the bestowal of the spiritual body. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, your devotees doing sadhana concentrate on their spiritual form, on our own spiritual form, according to their mood of love, using their minds. It's not said that the minds have to be perfect. It is not said that you can only do this when blah blah blah. It is said concentrating on their spiritual form according to the mood of love, using their minds. And you have them attain their spiritual bodies. Spiritual bodies means siddha deha. This is the process of siddha pranali. So we have here clear words from Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur that actually when we progress in our spiritual life and when we focus on our mood and we meditate with our minds on our desired spiritual bodies, then Krishna will bestow to us those forms we want to be. So therefore it is so important to come to a point to understand who do I want to be? What is my relationship to the divine couple? Is it in Vatsalya Bhav? Is it in Madhurya Bhav? Is it in Sakya Ras? So as a Manjari Bhav Sadhaka, our relationship is that of a Manjari to Swamini, to Radhika. So we practice Raganuga Sadhana, we practice Manjari Bhav Sadhana, and we travel from Achata Ruchi with not much taste, where we have to do all these things, and then we come slowly, we go through the higher stages, but we try to always remember who we are. So in our parivar, where I have been fortunate to be in, Shri Gurudev reveals the siddha deha to the disciple. So many will say, man, Tarun, you are not very much advanced. What is, how can you now cope with something like siddha pranali and the siddha deha? It is true I am not very advanced, and I cannot see my siddha deha, but it is very important for me personally to know about my spiritual body, and confirmed by a bona fide and Sadguru, it takes root in the heart, and it gives one a certain very deep kind of belonging, and it is like a garment, a wonderful garment which is not fitting me right now, but I will grow into it. This certainty that I have a spiritual form granted to me by my beloved Gurudev gives me a wonderful, wonderful sort of relaxation and peace in times of turmoil, where I know I have not realized it yet, but I have every chance by the kripa of Guru to realize it. And here we have also the confirmation in the Srimad Bhagavatam by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti part so wonderfully, that if we concentrate on our spiritual form according to my mood of love, using my mind, I can have that form, and Krishna will have he will bestow to me and to us that very form we desire in sadhana. So in the Prema Bhakti Chandrika, Srila Thakur Mahashaya in verse 56, he says, Satane ye dhana jai siddha deha tahi pai pokya pakva matre se pichara Pakile se prema bhakti apak ve sadhana gati bhakati lakshana tatvasara. So that is actually a complete confirmation and very close to that one which we have just read now. The translation goes like that. I will attain in my siddha deha the treasure that I long for during sadhana. Wonderful, no? I will, what is said here by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and by actually Brahma is saying that I will, Krishna will bestow to me that siddha deha I long for during sadhana. Here goes on. The only consideration is ripeness or unripeness. The unripe stage consists of the practices of sadhana. The ripened stage is prema bhakti. This is the essential characteristic of the path of devotion. This is Narottam Das Thakur's Prema Bhakti Chandrika 56. So it's very wonderful that we have not to be discouraged. It is all encouragement is there. It comes unripe, where we think about and meditate, and at one point it will be the ripened stage when we went through all these stages: anartha, nibidhi, nishtha, ruchi, ashakti, bhav, and then finally prema. Yeah, I find it so wonderful that all acharyas are always together making their points, and it fits wonderfully together. My Gurudev is saying in the tika of that wonderful shloka, very nice points, I am just checking it. In the Gaudiya Vaishnav Sampradaya, Siddha Pranali is received from Sri Guru's lotus feet and contains the particulars of that spiritual body. No one should consider this to be imagined. It is eternal truth. Among those countless forms situated in Sri Bhagavan's abode, the Lord determines the particular body the Bhakta will receive. Exactly what we had now in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Again, among those countless forms situated in Sri Bhagavan's abode, the Lord determines the particular body the Bhakta will receive. And now here we hear it in the Bhagavatam 3.9.11. How I will receive that? By the bestowal of Sri Krishna. It is bestowed. It is not inside my heart. It is not growing somewhere on a tree. Krishna will mystically and magically bestow to us a wonderful body appropriate to our cultivated mood during our sadhana. Krishna will bestow that to us. Among those countless forms situated in Bhagavan's abode, the Lord determines he determines because he knows our heart and he knows our desire, which particular body the Bhakta will receive. After being informed of that, through the power of meditation, Sri Guru gives that form, the information of that form, to the sadhaka as his siddha deha. At the time of sadhana, after establishing a sense of self in that body, the devotee must perform sadhana bhajan in it. When the sadhaka attains prema, he is blessed with direct seva in that very body. This is what we just read also here: seen, heard, seen, and served directly, also from Thakur, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in the Tika to the Bhagavatam verse. So it is just a question of being ripe and unripe. So that means we try that we come from a stage of unripe to a ripe. Like a mango is green, our sadhana is very green and hard and tough, but cultivation makes the mango and makes our heart ripe and fertile, and then all these things can happen in our hearts. So of course many now say, why Sri Gurudev has to be in the middle of this, like a messenger to reveal the siddha deha. It is a tradition going back to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who ordered Gopal Guru Goswami to make an elaboration on this process of Siddha Pranali. And he himself, Gopal Guru Goswami, entrusted that mission also to Dhyana Chandra Goswami Pad. And in our parivar, it is the tradition that Sri Gurudev, as a middleman, so to say, as the ambassador of the spiritual realm, a perfected soul himself, he receives that information and he gives that information to a fitting disciple. The disciple approaches in a very humble way And then Sri Gurudev sees if the heart of the disciple is fit yet for that information, or if the disciple has to wait. So this is all up to Sri Gurudev. So I just found this verse very interesting of the Bhagavatam. It has so many deep points inside. Also that really the first thing is the mouth of Gurudev. Shri Guru Mukha Padma Gyachititi Koriya. Everything starts there. Everything starts with the mercy of Gurudev, and it ends with the Lord being so kind, and so he becomes dependent on us. I mean, this is really unimaginable, and he will bestow to us the body we are desiring and cultivating in our minds, thinking that I want to be a friend of Krishna, I want to be the father or mother of Krishna. But in our Manjari Bhav sadhana, we want to be a Manjari, and we want to take shelter of the lotus feet of Radhika. And by the mercy of Gurudev, who himself is a Manjari, he will bestow these blessings to us. And we try to cultivate, we might try to make the heart a fertile ground for all this to take place. And this is a very much important point. Here it is also said that the devotee has to know the path very well. Very well. No? By this path, you are brought to the devotee's lotus heart. It implies, it is said here, that the devotee must know this path very well. So without tattva, there can never be any rasa. So the devotee has to know the path of bhakti very well and understand all these wonderful points which are fitting so nicely together by our acharyas. And then we have this understanding by the kripa of Gurudev, who makes it easy for us to understand. It is not that that's the only way that Sri Guru will reveal the siddha deha. This is no fanaticism. This is no fanatical stuff. This is just how it is transported in our Nityananda Parivar. But I heard from many, and I think many will agree that this bestowal of the spiritual bodies, this awareness of the spiritual body, it can come to you by the chanting of the holy name. It can come also to you by Krishna himself. By Krishna, he himself can make you aware and bestow this body and this knowledge to you. There are endless ways, but for us in our Parivar, the most easiest way is to go to the lotus feet of Gurudev and beg for his mercy and ask him to bestow upon us the information of the body we really want to cultivate. And in the end, we want to be, like it is said here, heard about, then seen, and directly served. So in our mind, the mind is the most important thing for Raganuga Bhakti Sadhak. It can be our friend and it can be our foe. And it is fake it until you make it. We have to make our mind our friend, and we have to start at one point and go through that and cultivate and hear about the pastimes of Radha and Krishna and fill up the mind with impressions, with samskaras. We read from the acharyas, we chant the Mahamantra, we chant our Diksha mantras, we offer our food. So all these things help to cultivate this wonderful mood we are desiring for, and by the Lord's mercy, he will bestow to us such a desired body. I just repeat the verse with the meaning of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Tvam bhakti yoga paribhavitarit sarocha ashe sutekshita patu nanu nata pungshang yadyat thiya dhaurugaya vipavayanti tatat vapu pranayase sat anugrahaya. O Lord, you who are approached by being heard about, seen, and directly served, enter and remain in the lotus of your devotees' hearts infused with bhakti yoga. Much praised Lord, by your mercy you bestow to them spiritual bodies appropriate to the mood they cultivate during sadhana. Jai Ho, Jai Shri Radhe. Om Agyanti Myantasya Kananjana Salakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namavancha Kalpatarubhischa Kripa sindhu bhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Jai Sri Radhe.